So you bought another non-running Piaggio Ciao off of Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, this one is looking like it has been left out for quite some time. Didn't pay quite that much. Actually, I paid a little bit more with shipping. But this is a Series 1 that is very minty. You know it's a Series 1 by the front bicycle brake and no other brake on it. This is basically just a front bicycle rim on here. At one point it had turn signals because you just got the key and the boxes for it, and it also has a gooseneck handlebar, but it doesn't look like he removed any of the turn signal brackets, so this must have been a headset that was installed later. Yeah, to recoup some cost, I think I'm going to remove the book rack and the two boxes and one lid and make it more of a lowrider bicycle style without this on it, since it doesn't have the turn signals. The round original USA light, it's kind of rare. Oh, it's got its box. Anything in it? Nope. Nothing in the toolbox. Let's see. Oh, the funny thing on these as well too. Jeez, those hand grips are roached. Where is the external CDI at? So I don't see it over here. And I don't see it over here. Ooh, hey. There's a treat. Look at that. One of the original push pins stayed in. Wow. Oh man, I was hoping it wasn't this style. These are hard to come by. Let's see if we can get him out of there. There we go. Oh, funny. These are quite a bit different than the other ones. Might mean that the might have problems getting some panels for it then, because this has a whole different mount system. Unless maybe I can modify those other ones to work. We shall see. So the CDI, basically, put this somewhere where we don't lose it. Had one out here somewhere. Oh, it's right on the bike. That other bike I was building. So on the Series 1s, they actually install them. Oh, it's there. That's it right there. Underneath the bike. Which hopefully this one's good, because these ones with the flat. Where are we at? Right here. Ones with the flat part right there are hard to come by. I can find them, but they're about $100. So, what do when you first buy a roached out Ciao on Facebook Marketplace? I want to take the pressure washer to it, but I think what I'll do is just remove everything off of the bike, clean it, repair, replace, and rebuild it. Which doesn't look too bad. Most of the parts are here. The side panels are the parts that's going to be kind of a bitch. And I do have a missing bracket, an original footrest, which is nice, that original bracket right there to go with it. So it might just be put together basically like this without the side panels, and then I'll see if I can recoup some costs on this, because I'm probably just going to break even on this one. I mean, nobody wants to pay $900 for an old moped with a not very good seat. Oh gosh, that just dry cracked right through. So I have to see if maybe we can find another seat cover. Alright. It's kind of nice that this was an Arizona find. So any rust that it does have on it, is very just on the surface. If this bike was left outside anywhere else in the U.S. for the last 20 years, it would be roached. But since it's probably been in a warehouse or the side of a building in Arizona, it's mostly just sun-baked, kind of sun-cooked, so it actually kind of helped preserve it pretty well. It's like the tank is pretty decent. But overall, this color, I'd taken some Armor All and cleared off a spot right here, and I don't know if you can see that, but it kind of cleans up pretty nice. So this minty color isn't too bad. I mean, we got a little rust down in some spots there, but it doesn't look like it's all the way through. I could always reseal the tank if I needed to. Alright, there's no belt, but let's just see if the engine's seized. Oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. So it's rusted. It looks like we got some problems maybe with our brake pads or our clutch pads there. That look pretty worn. Alright. Commence disassembling. The grips are so old, they're like petrified. Like plastic, man, like sun-baked, like crazy. I tried to just cut that other one off, man, and it was not wanting to go. There we go. I still got to get this part off, but I'd show you how it was all dry rotted. Alright, normally I don't mess with these horns too much, but this one is so dry rotted, man. It's like you see the dust coming off of that. I have a couple of these, so they're riveted on right here. I usually drill them out and then re-bolt them if I reinstall them. I have a couple that are in better shape than this one. So I'm going to remove this one, and then I don't know if I'm going to put it back or not. I might put the horn up in the bottom of the headlight and then just cut this bracket here to give it a little more. I think it gives it a more cleaner look up here in the front. Oh, funny, look, you can see the shadow where, the little hexagon shadow where the Piaggio sticker was at one point. Must have fallen down to there because usually they're up a little higher in this area. So I'm going to drill this out, remove this. I mean, this could probably be saved with an epoxy and a little paint, but I have so many of them. It's just going to come off, and we'll debate the design later. I really want to try to keep this as close as the Series 1 as I can. A little disappointed that these aren't 19-inch. These are actually 17-inch rims. For a minute I thought it was 19-inch because one of the other Series 1s I had a front brake on it and 19-inch. But it's a bonus that it doesn't, because that means that this rear transmission hub is the same hub that goes on all the other bikes, whereas the 67, 68 had entirely different rear hub, so there's not a whole lot of parts available for those bikes. It's a little saving grace. Yeah, just still cleaning it up, removing stuff. I got the headlight off. Might just sand and repaint a different bullet headlight to put on there. And take this off. I'm going to start pulling the wires and just working my way back. Probably remove the brake and the throttles. Just clean this bike up as much as I can. Yeah, so it says, hopefully you can see it, C7N, should say 1T over here, 1971. If this was a 72 model, I'd probably keep it, because I was born in 1972. I haven't found a Ciao from 1972 yet, but that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I really like these gooseneck handlebars, or I guess gooseneck part here, and then this has the ox style. No, not quite the ox style. Similar, but not quite the ox. They don't have quite the shape of the bow to those other ones. I think they kind of come straight back too, a little more, but still good looking handlebars. And I think that's where I'll call it a day. Got it all stripped out. Looks like the tank is good. Frame's good, no cracks. A little faded. Engine looks alright. I noticed that the window, well, of course it's seized, but I noticed this rubber was missing. So it almost makes you think someone got in there and messed around. Hopefully not. I can see part of the coil here. As long as these coils are in good shape, I can repair it. It's just trying to replace those coils for the American versions are a bitch. You can get the Europeans no problem. So I think I'm going to put a pin in it. And that's the end of day one for the Minty Series 1 Ciao. Cleaning day. Gonna pressure wash the heck out of this thing. I think I'm gonna lay a moving blanket down or something so I can kind of flip it around and keep spraying each of the different areas. But there's definitely some gross, cruddy stuff all over it. So setting that up now. Got my Aerobi, got my battery all powered, ready to clean. Pressure wash is done. Bike is totally cleaned. So I sprayed it and cleaned it and pressure washed it. So just because it's going to come. Next is going to be servicing the rims, taking some steel wool and cleaning the rims off. And then I've got some replacement tires to put on it. I think white wall tires is really going to make this bike. So I went the extra mile. They're about twice as expensive and blew my budget. So, but the bike will look really cool with white wall tires. And then just on another note, anyone that gets one of these bikes, pull your tap off and stick a hose down in there and let it run until it comes out clear down here. And then use like a leaf blower to blow it out, let it dry in the sun, make sure it's totally dry, spray some WD-40 or dump some gas or something in there if you have to before you put your tap back on. That way you get your tank totally cleaned. Alright, so tires would be next. I'm going to start with the front because that would be the easier. I think we've got quite a bit of service to do on the rear. Yeah, we'll probably have to check out and clean quite a bit more back here. So I'll do the front first and then maybe take some rust off of it, put that cap back on, and clean up this wheel a little bit. I think it can still look pretty decent. This is pretty cool. Sometimes you'll find souvenirs from past owners. It looked like somebody had this registered at Arizona State University in 1981. It says motorcycle permit, but they probably just made the moped drivers get a motorcycle permit. And man, doesn't that front bicycle brake look really cool? All right, cleaning. The best for cleaning rims is this Brillo pad. It's pretty non-abrasive, works pretty good. I'm not really going to show you. Just kind of, I'll show you the after I clean it. This is what it is: water, Brillo pad, time. And then the thing with this tire is it's roach, so I'm not really worried about damaging it. If I take it off, when I take it off, it's like split on the side here, and there was some metal wires poking out of it. So this one's coming off. I got some new ones I'm going to put on, but I don't ever use the levers. I just flex it by hand if you have to. Usually I say throw them out in the sunlight, but that's not a day. Today is not really a day. There's a lot of sunlight. Looks like it could rain. But these I'm just going to pretty much tear off, and then the other ones I spray them down with soap and degreaser if I have to, and then just flex them to get them on. And then once the tire's on the rim, you're good to go to inflate it. But yeah, this one's pretty roach, so I don't know. Maybe the tube's good. I might check it. All right, doing it. Tire is off the rim. Rim is ready to be cleaned. It will be easier to clean the rim without the tire on it. So I'm going to go through and sparkle this up best I can, and then put a tire on it and reinstall it on the front fork. Not that you can really see it on a cold and gray Costa Mesa day, but this rim really shined up good. The rims are in great shape, man, so that was a plus. Very shiny. Not much rust. Tire time. Oh! Behold, the golden white walls. I got these from Moped Division. They're a little bit cheaper than the white walls at Treatland. I don't know by how much. I don't know why they're so expensive. They're so hard to keep clean. But I think on this classic bicycle looking Ciao, it's going to be what makes it. Yep, putting those on that one. Ta-da! Yeah, I think these white walls are really going to be what makes this bike. So that one's on, and I'm going to work on this rusted out sprocket of a rear hub. Get the tire off, get it cleaned up, get a new tire put on it, get it mounted on the bike. That way the bike is mobile, so I can move it around. I guess maybe the seat would be next, which is a freaking mess with a crack. So I'm already over budget on this build, and I really don't want to give up a new seat. But man, this bike might be worth it. Well, that wasn't fun, but I got the tire off. Bit my blade trying to cut it off. But yeah, I think that thing was so dry rotted it shrank, and it did not want to come off that rim. So tire off, thrown away, rim being cleaned. Maybe inspect the transmission. I don't know what's going on there. That should pop out. Oh, there it went. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't have to open that, but looks like the only oil that we have coming. Well, no, looks like we do have some crud on the underside, so we might have to make a gasket again. We'll see. May not get quite that far today. I guess spray it down, inspect it, and then at least pop this cover off, take a look at it. I mean, it looks like it's got oil, so don't know if that seal's any good or not, though. Cleaning time. Here's something different. Usually you have to take a wrench and it's got a spot on the backside here and you undo these. This one didn't. This one had a lock plate in it with this nut on it, which is funny, and it doesn't even have the square body on the backside. Oh, I thought I had it off. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't even have the part on the backside here. So you just kind of put it on. I might switch that. I don't know if that's the same hub. That's weird. It's got a key. So this might be an older, because newer ones don't look like that. Alright, I'll have to take a look at it. I mean, I could just evaporust this and put it back together as is. Keep everything original. But I just want to make it as easy to put together and go apart as can. Okay, alright. Wheel is off. Rear transmission hub is out. And this wheel needs a little work, so we're gonna clean this up and put a tire on it and put it back on the bike, so that way the bike is mobile. And then it's just cleaning up the headset and seeing if we can salvage that engine. Oh man, fingers crossed. That would kill this build if I have to buy a full another engine for it. Alright, clean up and cleaning. So another thing I just noticed while cleaning this is that this seal isn't all the way sealed. So as I went through and sprayed the back part of this, oil started coming out the front and the back. It looks like the way that this thing goes together is that this little sleeve right here kind of slides in and completes that seal part right there, because there wasn't any of that oil. Either that or you got to push this down. I might open this up to take a look at it. I think it's good gearing wise, but just out of curiosity as to why that seal wouldn't be further down. But it's just this Series 1 design is quite a bit different than the later models, and those are the ones I'm used to. So just some more surprises. Quite a bit of rust inside there, so the thing wasn't sealed very good to begin with anyhow. Alright, I'm going to clean this up, clean up this rim. Still on track to put the tire on and remount it. But yeah, crazy. A little bit mess. Rim is clean and shiny, as much as it can be. I kind of want to paint part of it, but just moving on. Putting the tire on, putting the hub back in, putting it on the bike. Alright, wheel is clean, tire is mounted. I'm gonna put the hub in it, but I think I really would like to soak this piece in evaporust overnight and see if we can get that cleaned up a bit. Clean this up and then mount the wheel, and I could still put this on, assuming after the wheel is on. So that's the plan. Mount the wheel, leave this piece off, soak it in evaporust overnight, and then I can put it on tomorrow. So almost finished for the day. I think we came pretty clear, or pretty far. Yesterday stripped it, today cleaned it, and maybe tomorrow we start assembling it. Probably clean these handlebars off in the same way with those Brillo pads. See if I can get a little bit of that rust off there. But alright, let's get the tire on. Alright. The Series 1 Ciao has its white walls on it. I didn't put the back part of the chain pedal drive on. I'm going to soak it in some evaporust overnight. But it's looking good. I mean, anybody see my other channels, I really want to hack this off right here because it was a little bit of a hassle to try to get this tire on. This tire is slightly bigger. This is a 2.25. I think the one that came off was a 2.00. So trying to fit it in there to get the bolts on was a little bit of a hassle. I usually cut these off, but since this is a Series 1 and it's in decent shape, same with the front. I don't know why they extend them down past like that. Same with the front. But I'm going to leave them matching. That's for whoever gets it after me. I like the way that the fender is. Somebody's blowing me up. So, alright. I think I might put a pin in it here. Soak that sprocket in evaporust and then resume at noon tomorrow. So I soaked the sprocket in evaporust and it cleaned up pretty good, and put it back on with a lock washer. So it's good. Tires rolling pretty good. Took the engine apart, and it took me a while because the piston was rusted in the cylinder. So to get it out, I had to pretty much pound it out with this. So sledgehammer and that, pounding it through, finally got it out. Once I freed it, the crank isn't too bad. I mean, we definitely have some rust here, so I'm gonna separate this and soak it in evaporust. Here's the other half of the case. Seal seems to be pretty good, didn't look to be leaking. See if I can save that if I can. If not, then I'll use it as a template to make another one. Quite a bit of rust in there, so you can see where it's it had gas and oil sitting in it for quite a long time that basically distilled and rusted the piston in place. And I even broke the fin, so I don't know if I can reuse this. I don't know if this piston's any good, so I'll probably have to get a new piston and a new cylinder. So if we got to do that, it might just be the case to upgrade it to a 64cc Olympia kit. We'll have to see what the cost is, or if I happen to have a spare piston and cylinder. I mean, maybe I can clean this up. Be nice if I could, but we'll see. All right, gonna clean the engine, put it back together, and start reassembling the bike. So I spent yesterday taking the engine apart, which wound up being a bitch, man, because this piston was rusted in right about here and would not come out, man. So I wound up like hammering away through here with this, and in doing so I actually cracked that off there. So I don't know if I'm gonna put that back or just try to patch that. I mean, it'd probably be all right without it, but those are cooling fins. The crank and the cases and the coils were all in good shape. They, along with the clutch, are now soaking in some evaporust to get the rust off them. So today I'm going to work on adding a little color back to the bike. So this is the original round, rare Series 1 Piaggio tail light. Usually when you see them, they're square. This trailer style light. I did find a place that sells a replica of this, so if the round one is something that you are interested in, it could still be built. Actually, I think it's right up here. Yeah, here we go. So this is it with the new light on it. But I think I'm going to leave the old cover on it. It's pretty close. Maybe a little thicker. But basically you can unscrew this piece here, which I'm going to take these reflector pieces off. I don't really put reflectors. They're a good idea. I kind of don't like them on bikes. And then we are going to refinish this guy, and then we are going to get a headlight. But I think this headlight's in too good of a shape, and I want to paint it gray, so let's not destroy the good paint on this and get one that is maybe not in too great a shape and needs to be repainted. This would be a good candidate. Maybe fill in that hole there. But I have some glossy gray paint, so today is sanding and painting, and trying to repair this seat. We got a couple tears in it. And I think I can flip it over and melt some mesh in here to help keep it together. And then maybe use a little bit of Gold Bond and sand it and respray it along with the center post and bracket. Maybe I'll vaporous that bracket. But that's gonna go on, get painted black, and then I'll respray this black, or maybe give it a little color, give it a brown, kind of like the one that's on my bike. Make it look like a brown leather. And this is my favorite light, this fender light on Chow's. I used to be into the rack lights, but this one's my favorite. I could get these off a SIP, I'm not including shipping, $21. And to be honest with you, I really do want to put that light on this bike, because I think it would look better. It makes it look more like a bicycle. Old school lowrider rigid frame. But I'm just going to work with the parts I have here. So the plan is to continue finishing this original taillight. And then I guess if maybe I have to place an order with SIP, $21 isn't too bad. It would help make the bike, I think. So maybe I will invest in that. But that's the plan for today, and I am getting to it. I guess I could go through and give a little lesson on, well, what I know on plastic repair. So right now I'm going to go through and where the seat's cracked at, there and there, and kind of just go, this isn't a great hold for it, but just kind of get a little bit of a bond in between both sides. And it just smells great too, you know, so make sure you're in a definitely ventilated area. I don't think that even goes through, so let's see. And even if it does, yeah, that's not too bad. This seat is so roached out that it's going to be primed and painted, so we can definitely sand it and get it to look pretty good if we can get the plastic to hold. Once I do that, I'm going to go through with this mesh and basically melt this mesh into the seat a little bit, and then after that I'm going to go through with this JB Gold Bond and make up a batch of this and basically just smear it on the area where I melted it back together. This has held sometimes in the past, more so the smaller cracks like right here. Sometimes it doesn't hold, especially back here where the seat flexes, but I'm gonna give it a try. You know, worst case scenario, I'll try to order a new seat cover off the internet, but I think this one is salvageable. Oh, and then I guess plastics in general, we can do like even for instance this right here, same method. People would throw this away and look for a new one, as opposed to trying to take the time to put a clamp or something on this to get it to line up correctly. You know, kind of meld it back together, put some mesh in it. But then if you have to sand it and paint it, this one's pretty tree trunked. I don't know if that detail's coming up, but it has all these circles, so you can tell it's a couple 100 years old. Smashed up corner here. Yeah, this JB Gold Bond weld, the stuff works really good for that type of thing, because it's almost like a epoxy Bondo, better than Bondo, but you can mix it and fill in these little cracks here and then sand it, and yeah, it's a pretty good material. Alright, I'm going to start with fixing the seat. I might play around with this cover, clean it at some point. So this box lid is actually in really good shape, with the exception of that little crack right there, because it still has this little tab in full. And other than that, it's super clean. It's a little like punched in, like somebody hit it here. Kind of see how it's concave like a skateboard. But I think if I can do a good enough job of getting this one back together, I can almost make it look brand new. So we start by clamping it and getting that crack tight, about like that, and then I'm gonna go through and sew it up like a scar, get it all Frankensteined, and hopefully I don't go too far. You can't see it from the front, and hopefully I do it good enough that yeah, it looks like a brand new box from the front again. So we'll see. I'm gonna start it. I got the clamp on it. I can't quite, oh darn, I just popped it out. Can't quite get that crack to close up, but I can get this side pretty good lined up wise. So I think I'm going to start over here and then maybe let it dry and then try to pressure that little gap in. So I got the seat finished as far as it's going to be finished. Still looks a little melty, but there's no holes in it. I think I'm going to go ahead and primer and paint the top and bottom. I also finished up this box cover. So I get the Frankenstein scar, and then I did a little bit of the JB Gold Bond, and kind of pushed it together and put some of that in the middle and sanded it so I can spray it and prime it, or I don't know, throw a sticker over it or something. But for the most part, I was able to save this. It's in pretty good shape. Got the seat all primed and it's drying in the sunlight. You almost can't even see the scars so much. Could probably sand some of that down a little bit. Looking a lot better. I didn't have a way to plug the hole that was here, so I went ahead and just did an epoxy over it, which I'm gonna sand and prime and paint. So cleaning the engine, and just realized that when I had to pound the piston through that middle cylinder, that it was hitting kind of right about here, and if you could see, I cracked these little top ledges just a little bit, probably like an inch or so on both sides. So I'm gonna mix up some Gold Bond and see if I can kind of set that back in there, let it dry overnight. Hopefully that'll hold it in place. If not, I could probably remove those. I don't know how much. I mean, I guess as long as the seal is good, it's good, but we could get some overflow through that area up into this. So if we can repair that, I think the better. Okay, I'm gonna try to do that. Alright, so I've got them clamped and JB Gold Bonded and slightly cleaned up. So hopefully I can put those back and those don't become a problem in the future. I'm guessing it should be okay. I've had to correct some things worse than this. maybe we can take that fuzz off there. So next, I mean, I guess we could clean up the flywheel. Missing our rubber piece there. Maybe clean up the head. And, backside there. Also need to, I guess, check out the crank. I've got it soaking in a tub of vapor rust over here. Oh, wow. Probably clean that up then. That looks really good. Whoa. Even that bearing might be salvageable now. Let's put him back. So a little more cleaning today, and I also would like to maybe install the tail light and run the wire for it. I did spray the seat, and I think I saved it. It looked pretty good. We can go out and take a look at that now. So a little melty looking, but much better. Hopefully this holds together enough. Oh, yuck. Getting crap on it. Just kind of out here drying in the sun for now, but I don't know. I mean, no punctures. So I think we're good. I think we saved the seat. It's a little bit dirty. The official unveiling. Did it work? Let's see. Looks pretty good over here. Maybe a little bit of sanding, a little more work, but for the most part it's sealed and back to where it's supposed to be. And this side, that one seemed like it moved a little. Maybe. Let's see. No, he's good. Yeah. Let's get out of here in the light of this beautiful California day. Yeah, I think we're good. If anything, it moved a little too far, but I think that's all right. I can still put a little more epoxy on there and sand it and get it back to where it's supposed to be, sealed up. Yeah, no gaps or anything. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Okay, cool. This engine's back on track. I did open up the intakes, and here, and this little part right there. Still might do a little more on that left side. And then this guy was opened up a little bit too. I started to go maybe a little too deep. See where those little indentions are right there? If you go too deep, it will come through on this side here, right about there. So just make sure if you're getting into that area, don't get too thin. I have poked through and had to use this stuff to fix it. So, all right. Going to start putting the engine back together today of my mess of a workbench area, but at least I know where everything is. So I've got the engine cases put together. I cleaned up the piston. Looks like the rings are still rusted in place underneath, like they're not expanding, but I know that there's and then I repaired the cracked fin on the cylinder. I'm going to try to reuse this, but I was thinking I might be able to sand down the inside and get that to still work, because it's at maximum width, and we have some rust down in there if you can see it. So if I can sand that out, I think I might be able to still use this piston. So we're going to put the engine back together. It'd be nice to put it back in the bike, button it all up, and then I guess what would be I'd like to put the controls on. So put on the throttle and the brake, and then I've got the sleeve soaking over there, so I'll clean that up. So I'll probably be out here in the garage for a couple hours working on this, but looks like that held pretty good. I mean, it's not really moving. Looks like everything's salvageable from the engine, at least so far. So continuing on. So while cleaning the exhaust on this thing, I bumped that fin a few times, and I don't think it worked. I don't know if maybe it had some vapor rust still on it or what, but it kind of knocked free over much of nothing. So I think we're just gonna take that off and see what I have in my private collection, because usually in the past when I would buy a decent bike I would upgrade it to a 64cc Olympia. So I pulled heads and it's an electric engine. I have 2 of those. That's the other Polini. That was my nightmare for a while. That Polini, this Polini, and then that's a stock engine. So we're looking for cylinders. All right, what do we have? Lots of heads. Head. All right, we got a couple cylinders. This one looks really good. And we got pistons too. Let's see if maybe we've got... That looks really good too. Alright. Maybe just see if we have a piston and a cylinder that's in decent shape. Alright, I'm gonna go with that last one because it looked really clean. And then, I don't know, maybe we can repurpose that other cylinder. Make sure this is the right size. It almost looks bigger. Could this be a 70cc? Whoa, yeah, this looks way bigger. Look at that. Alright, what size is this? Where's my meters? We're looking at... It says we're at 46, so this is one of the 70cc kits here. I don't even know why that's not on. Okay, alright, so we're not using that one. We're going to go find another one. Okay, so I got a new cylinder for it. But, this piston, man. Okay. The camera cut out on my last segment, so I wound up going with an existing middle cylinder and piston that I had, and then I made a new head gasket for it. So I'm about to finish that up, and then I'm going to start the electrical, complete the engine, hopefully put it back in the body, and then clean the controls, the throttle and the brake, and put those on for today. That is the goal. Getting closer to getting this bike to test fire up. Finishing the engine. And staying with my grounding, the negative ground wire inside the engine. That's what I'm doing right here. So the only one that is going to come out of the engine is the starting wire. And then of course you've got your little plastic square over here, which your headlight, tail light, and horn run off of. So it was actually originally attached to the top of this, but you can also, as long as it's making the connection, attach it to here. Gonna run it out. That's it, running out. Give it extra long because it's got to go underneath the bike. So thought I'd just show that. Getting ready to put this back together and give it a test to see if it has spark. And a key thing to remember too when you're putting these wires in is to make sure they stay down low enough. I've had these where they were up so high that they were rubbing on the flywheel. So I try to bend those and get them out of the way, because this little transition part right up there, when that comes down, it can rub, and it was hitting on one of them right about here, so maybe I can move that over a little bit. But once it wears through that, it'll make the connection to the flywheel and it'll kill your spark. So it's a good thing to have those wires out of the way best you can. So setting the timing. And that little points gap opens up right there. That's what sets your timing. There it goes. Little tiny gap right there. And then we're doing, is it 0.015? 0.015 sets your timing. I haven't cleaned up the inside of the points a little bit. So, alright, this is good to go, man. I'm going to tighten these coils down and button it up. Make sure everything clears, and then test it and see if it has spark. As I'm putting this one together, I happen to notice that the fan cover mounts are missing on this one. So this one's broke off, this one's broke off. I have quite a few extra of these fan covers, so I'm just basically going to throw that one in the garbage and use this one because it has there and there. I think that's important. This is how you cool the engine, so having this thing on and having it sturdy is a good idea. The engine's not firing up. I was trying the CDI that came with it. Basically, you just want to mount this to where it's touching the engine, and then make sure that your spark plug is touching the engine somewhere as well too. You should see a little gap up there. I'm not getting it. I'm getting a really weak one, so I think it might be the condenser or possibly even the points, but probably more so the condenser, which I've got quite a few of those. So I'm just going to switch out the condenser and then retest. But I was glad that I didn't put it in the bike first, that I tested it first. So pull the flywheel off and switch up one of these condensers. One's got to be in pretty good shape. If not, I'll order a new one. They're pretty cheap. They're like $8. So I changed out the condenser and got nothing, and then I pulled the points out and switched it out with one that I already had, and now I have spark. So I don't know if I can do this and hold this at the same time, but I'll try to give you an example. See if you can see it. There you go. Not quite in focus, but the engine now has spark and really good compression. So just putting it back in the body and starting to assemble the Ciao now. It's nice that this external ignition coil still worked because of the way that this mounts under the bike. These can be a little pricey. The only place I know to get them is overseas. I think SIP has them pretty cheap. Another place that I know of has them for like 75, 80 bucks. A little pricey. But yeah, these ones with these flat plates that mount under the bike are, it's even got a little bit of a, might try to repair that a little bit. I think it got hot. So, yay, success on the engine. So I flipped the bike over to see a little better the area where this attaches to. And it's still not a very good design or a good fit because that's like mashing up against the engine. Almost be better if this had like some spacers that brought it up a little bit. So I might wind up doing that instead. Because this just does not seem like it is lining up quite right. I kind of like being able to mount this to the bottom because it makes the sides super clean. Some overspray on the bottom here, funny. But yeah, I think I might take some skateboard spacers that I have and raise this up a little bit so that at least that connection is not brushed right up against the body, because that's where it's going to be if we tighten it down. And I still have to find another one of these screws that go in there. So that will be next. Got the engine in the bike, got the clutch on, clutch rebuild's finished, pulley, belts on, getting closer to testing it. Just need to get the CDI mounted, and then we can start hooking it up. Everything's here. I'm not for sure if this is the original CDI to this bike or not, because I'm having problems getting it to line up. Those holes right there. So there's like holes right there, holes here. Kind of doesn't work that way. I think we're going to burn off our coil wires there. And then flip it around. Almost fits this way. I mean, we're touching there. Maybe we can bend that piece. I can see it's not really lining up. So I don't know if this is it looks really close to the coil that was on there. The one I have is this one here, and it's a little bit different. It's got a shorter back plate on it. This is one I took off of a C19 or C9. That one looks good, but I kind of roached it by tearing that part off there. So I might have to do some sort of spacers and a different external CDI. Okay, so ideally it's in a little better spot. I've got a gap here. I didn't know if it was supposed to be touching the engine or not. That would be an issue. And then I've got this plug up, and then it's clearly not hitting the exhaust. I re-drilled these two bolts to slide the whole thing back, and then I cut this so that it's not in the way of the kickstand when it comes up, which it looks like it's hitting it there a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue. Hopefully it doesn't work it loose. It's pretty tight. So now I just need to hook up my coil, maybe clean and respray this muffler, and then I can flip the bike over and get it closer to testing it. I don't remember where I left off because I had a couple days of work, but kind of came to the conclusion that the decompressor really isn't working. It's kind of rusted in place, so the engine needs to come out, have a look at that. I might be able to take the carburetor out and clean it and give it a try, but I think to address the head with the decompressor rusted into it, that we're going to take it out and maybe take this head off and soak it in some evaporust that I have over here, and put a different head on it, and maybe check the gaskets. Might have been that gasket I made didn't hold too well. Good thing is I just got a delivery from Treatland, and I've got some 50cc gaskets for the engine and the cylinder and the head. So if I need those, I have them. Would be nice just to be able to clean the carburetor and be like, oh, it starts. And then I just have to change the head. But I'm guessing the engine's probably going to come out. So it looked like it was the gasket for the cylinder was kind of failing. I don't know, there's a crease in it here. But it was a little wet down here at the bottom. So I'm going to switch it up with a new gasket. And while I'm at it, I might as well put on a newer head gasket. Although it looks like this one held pretty good. But yeah, we'll go with factory gaskets as opposed to my reused this one and my cardboard one. And then I'm going to see if I can find another head, because this decompressor, like that thing is just rusted in there. It should pop down at least, but I mean, it looks sealed. But alright, so new gaskets, new head. So I grabbed a new head, and this one actually had the same problem. This decompressor was rusted in, so I just took it apart and cleaned it up, sanded it down, WD-40. It's probably what I should have done to the other one before I put it into soak, but at least the spring works now, so we can turn the bike off if we need to and help start it. So I'm going to reassemble this with some new gaskets. Hopefully it seals up this time, and might be able to start this bike later today. Got the engine put back together with the new head with the decompressor. So I'm gonna put it in and hopefully it fires. I think originally the leak was right here where that gasket was. So we'll see if it's got gas on the bottom of it. That would be where it's leaking again. I mean, a little bit right here, but right in that area. I don't know if that's the cases maybe having a little bit of issue. But gonna put it in and try to fire it up. This is the plan. Gonna take the engine out. Actually left the fuel tap on overnight. You can tell that it dripped out a little bit there. So it's clear that the leak is coming in between the cylinder, middle cylinder, and the cases. Bottom part right about there. So I think it's because of the rods are bent. I'm going to pull those apart. Hopefully it's not leaking there. See a little bit wetness there. So it's coming out. Going to take a look at it, get rebuilt. So we got a little bit of gas pooling up right here. I mean, it's pretty wet down here. Even on the sides of the bike. There and here it was wet. You can't see, I'm just shooting the camera over there. The engine studs what I was brain farting on, and these are pretty bent, so I suspected that it had a leak through here. I think at one point I could kind of see daylight through it. So I think I'm going to pull the studs off and replace them or straighten them. And then I might do a little bit of sanding to this part, but I mean, since it's pulling up here, I might go through and replace this gasket. I don't know if that came through there, or if it just dripped down around this area. I'm more inclined to think it's this area, not the cases, but I'm looking to solve this one last time, so I don't want to keep putting this together and taking it apart. So hopefully this next time I nail it. Kind of funny that I had enough compression to start it and run it, just not enough to keep it running. Wouldn't idle. So I'm going to disassemble this and rebuild it. I think I might split the cases to see what it's like with because I have new gaskets. I have a gasket for this. I could put a brand new gasket. I mean, it might just be leaking in this area right here. We know this is the area. Don't know if it's cases. Don't know if it's a cylinder. The head looks really good though, so that's positive. For a minute I thought it might have been leaking through the decompressor, since I did kind of sand that a little bit, but that looks pretty dry. Not really had a whole lot of chance to use that, but alright, working on the engine. So I'm seeing like little bits. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if that's that part of the engine that I tried to repair, or if that's part of the, because it's also the same color looking. Did part of this braking pull through there? Maybe we don't use this oxidized one, or is this that part of the cases? It feels plastic, really. So I think that's the air box. It's almost thinking that that area inside the cases that I repaired might have came undone. How the hell did it get pulled up through here? Weird. I just found two pieces up in the head, so I don't know. More looking into. It's odd to find debris inside the engine. So really wet on the bottom side of the engine, on this area. I can't really tell if that gasket has failed or not. I do kind of want to get in there to take a look. But, this is definitely the area where the gas is coming from. Even on this, see where it's kind of pulling up. So I might just disassemble it and redo that middle gasket. The studs on these were super bent from me pounding on it, so I'd almost would rather take these out and redo them, because the alignment on this might somehow be pushing that off and just leaving a small enough gap when this goes together that it's just not sealing right. So alright, engine's coming apart. Engine apart. I split the cases. I'm having problems getting this engine stud out. I'm about to strip it out, and it has to come out now, and it's being difficult. Is it that one? Maybe it was this one. Having problems with the engine stud, so I need to get these removed. Figure it's easier just to take the cases apart. But you can also see there's quite a bit of gas in this area, kind of here too, so it looked like it was kind of maybe coming through here. So I'm going to replace this gasket and clean this up. Maybe even use some gasket seal on it. I don't want to keep putting this engine together and taking it apart, so trying to get the studs removed and then replace the gaskets. That's the plan. So that was a heck of a time trying to get this last one out. The other two weren't that fun, but I mean, this is what this thing usually looks like. And it got chewed up and snapped so much that I thought I was going to have to wind up going through and drilling it out. But I got them all out. I kind of re-broke that little piece there, and this one a little loose when I was pounding on it. I might just remove those. I don't know how much like we really need them. We have that little ledge on the inside there, so if that piece wasn't there, this still kind of stops the flow of gas up to the gasket, I guess. Probably a good idea to have it, but since this one's damaged, I think I'm just going to remove it. Yeah, there we go. So hopefully that doesn't cause problems. If so, I may go through and try to JB Gold Bond weld that back up, but I'm hoping that it doesn't wind up being an issue. Alright, rebuilding the engine. So the build's complete, but it really doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of difference. This is another engine I built. It has kind of a boom of like a slow sucking, whereas this one's just a little too easy to spin. Like it's getting air by it still. So I'm thinking maybe it might be the decompressor is leaking since I sanded it down. So I might try to block it or try a different head on it, but this is all put together, new gaskets, and I actually used liquid gasket seal too. So I'm gonna let it set overnight, put it back in the bike and test it. And then I guess if it fails, then I'll try to see if I can figure out if it is the head or the decompressor. Or possibly the piston. For some reason, I mean, it's a brand new piston, but it seems like there's air getting by. That just seems too easy. Whereas this one, you can kind of hear the fa-boom. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. All right, putting the engine in. I mean, it still kind of sounds like it's sucking air a little bit. I don't believe the cases are leaking, but I don't know. Well, guess we'll find out here in a minute. Compression's still off, but I'm not getting any dripping that I see, or maybe there's something there. So still have a lack of compression, but got a little further. I don't believe the leak is at the cases now. I think it might be the piston or possibly even the decompressor. I might try to start it without the decompressor hooked up. I mean, barely touching it. Yeah. Well, need to look further into it. This was pretty cool. I intentionally left the fuel tap open last night, full on open, to use it as the day before, kind of when I had that leak in the engine that the gas was dripping out the bottom. But no puddle today. This is all overnight, so that makes me think that the engine is sealed up proper. I just think that the sizing of the piston and probably that cylinder aren't correct. It's allowing too much air in around that area. But yeah, nice to know that no fuel is leaking through the engine. So I guess I can close this off now. So going to take the engine out, see if I have another piston and cylinder, double check the decompressor, and then put it back together. I cleaned up the original cylinder and piston best I could, and I am going to attempt to take the original cylinder, even though it's got a cracked fin. Hopefully that won't be an issue. And the original piston, and I even cleaned up the original head. So I'm going to put this engine back together with all of its original parts, and hopefully that takes care of the compression problem. So put the engine in, started it, ran it. Better compression, but it still dies after a few seconds. And I think it might just because the inside of that cylinder is worn out. Maybe that piston, I might have sanded down just a little too much to try to get it to fit back in that cylinder. So yeah, I think it's got low compression toward the head now. The cases seem to be fine. So I'm going to take the engine back out, take the head, the cylinder off it, and see if I can find a better piston and cylinder. If I have to, I'll buy a new one, or possibly even get the 64cc Olympia kit to put on it. I think that'd be fun for this bike. So engine's coming back out. So it seems like the problem might have been this piece of shit 12x12 carb, because I thought just for shits and giggles that the compression in the engine sounded good. You know, I kept cleaning this carburetor, turning the jet around, you know, doing different jets on it and stuff. And I thought, all right, why don't I just try a 1313 carb, which is one that I'm usually used to working with in the first place anyhow. So I put a 1313 carb on there with a 58 jet, and it idles. It throttles like a beast. Doing good. So I think that 1212 carb, man, just wasn't cutting it, or I don't know. But it's good now. Bike's good, it's running. All I gotta do is wire the headlight, the horn, and the tail light. But that doesn't seem to be dying. Actually rode it for a second, so pretty hype. See the 1313, but I don't have much light on here. This is the 1313. I took it off. I'm gonna put the 1212 on that bike because I think what I did was I was over jetting. So I put 48 jet on this one, and I'm gonna put it back on the Mint bike. And I actually have different plans for these 1313s, which are quite a bit more expensive carburetor than the 1212s. I think these are about 75, 80 bucks. I think I found these at like 15, 18 bucks or something. So put this on. Hopefully that solved the underperformance, and it will run, and then this bike will be good for wiring. So it starts and it runs and it dies. It almost idles. It just seems like maybe it's not getting quite enough gas. So I'm going to take the carburetor back out, and I'm going to change the jet from a 48 to a 50 or a 52 if I have it. So fingers crossed. That's what the issue is. Guess worst case scenario, put that 1313 back in there. Bravo. One of the last things I need to do is wire the lights, the headlight, the horn, the tail light, and then I need to replace the front brake pads, which I found, I believe, some replacements at my favorite local store, Ace. So we've got some Schwinn standard bike pads, and they look to be the correct size. So I'm going to take those old ones off, put the new ones on, give them a test, and then I think I'm going to start working on bringing the wiring up into the horn and then into the headlight. And the Piaggio Ciao is complete. I did have to add an additional spacer here to this front brake, and then to this one over here to get it a little bit tighter. Got the headlight wired, the horn's back in, tail light's wired. Guess I can stop barking. So I just fired up the bike and I couldn't get the lights to go, so I was looking through trying to figure out what I'd done wrong, and I really pinched my brake wire there, so I gotta fix that. Yeah, I should have left that on the inside, but I pulled it on the outside. Now it's in the way of the bracket, but otherwise it'd have been in the way of the air filter. So I'm gonna repair that, and then hopefully my lights come on after that. Can't see it real well, right? And then lastly, I was going to try to put the side panels on, but since these are a Series 2, and this one takes the Series 1 pins, the smallest one, I mean, you can even see the difference. This is the 32mm one right here. So I thought about like taking these and maybe shaving them down to be about as thin as that. I don't know. These might actually work. Yeah, not really. So you can mod these side panels to fit these, but you're probably more modding these fit these. Just look for the ones that have the surface mounts, the ones that pop through the body. They're more like this usually. Yeah, so I think this could be sanded down and can be used, could be modded. I don't think I'm going to do it. The other thing I noticed too is that these posts push the sides out quite a bit. Sorry if that camera view there, I'm trying to get it. So where these touch at, you'd have to go through and cut these plastic posts down in height. This right here, basically go through and cut like, man, maybe a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, because this is so far out, it's pushing it out away from the body of the bike. I mean, it's possible, because I have cut those other ones off, and then, I mean, even this one right here is one that I've reposted, or kind of did some quick set on it and melded it together so that it would still work when you don't see it from the outside. But I think that's what would have to be done for this to get the side panels, unless, luckily enough, you can find, there is somebody in Europe that manufactures these Series 1 pins, and then you would just have to go on the hunt for the Series 1 side panels. But this actually doesn't look that bad without the side panels. It kind of looks like a bicycle, so I would ride it as is. And then if you can, and then just keep on the hunt for these Series 1s. But I'm not going to bother with it. This bike is for sale. No use sitting on it for a couple months while I try to look for a part that's like a unicorn, almost impossible to find. I have a Series 1 with the 19-inch wheels and all of the push pins and the side panels, but I only have one set, so I don't have another set for this one. So I did order some stickers for this. I wanted to do the original stickers. I think that's really going to help the look of it. And then it's got its front badge. But other than that, this bike is ready to go, ready for sale. To upgrade it, I would recommend going with the 1313 carb and a 58 or 60 jet, and going with a Gianelli pipe, the step up, the stock like, but the next step up. So, all right, that's it for the mini chow. I might do another video once I get the stickers that I ordered off eBay. All right, today is the day for the finishing touches. The shop it came from, Seba. Thank you. Found you on eBay. What do you think? Original Chow stickers. I think that's what's going to make this bike. And they seem to be the right size. And then we have the Original Chow front badge, which was missing off of this guy. It goes right there. And these are the last two touches on it. Without those side panels, I think this is the only thing I can really do to finish it up. Somebody else can hunt those down or modify them themselves. So, putting the stickers on now. The right side is on, and the left side is on. Looks very cool. I think it makes this bike. And then I'm going to put the front badge on, and it will be finished. For the front badge, it comes with a sticker that peels off, and then I also use a dab of contact cement in the very middle to kind of help adhere to it. And then it's usually good once that dries, so that's what I'm doing. And there we go. The blue matches the blue of the Arizona motorcycle parking permit from Arizona University. 1981. Expires 8/15/1981. I was going to take that off, but I thought that was part of the history, maybe the souvenir of the bike, so I thought I'd leave it on. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way these sides work, or look. They work good because they're stickers and they stuck on perfect. They're right size. So, complete.